Ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. There is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense. Hi everyone. I eventually get to speak to my friend Lee today. It took us quite a few cancelled arrangements before we finally got to sit down and have this chat. We had our conversation in the lounge of his apartment in Lakeside. The view is spectacular, looking out over the Zandvlei Nature Reserve, Marina de Gama and Muizenberg Beach. What a perfect setting for a beautiful soul chat. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. I'm not going to say much more, as the chat is already quite long, so I shall let the talking do the talking. This podcast is supported by the First Layer, the 12-step workbook on working the 12 steps in any addiction in 21 sessions. There is also a 24-day coaching and counseling program available based on the First Layer. For some more information in this regard, go to www.freddy.org.za and click through from the notices at the right of the homepage. Enjoy Lee's journey. Mr. Lee.
Hello.
Eventually this happens.
Yeah. A lot later than I should have.
I am so grateful. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. I only now noticed that tattoo.
Yeah, it's a little half moon crescent because my mom and my sister also have a moon tattoo, but we each got our own design.
Okay.
Just to honor our family.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. So I just went minimal.
Lovely.
Yeah, hand poke.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Do all your tattoos have a specific meaning for you?
Kind of. This is surrender backwards.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So when I look in the mirror, so it's only readable when you stand in the mirror.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah. I got ants up my arm when I was 21. I was very high in Dublin. And I have some scripture over here, and I have a little mushroom on my lower back. Again, I was high when I was 15. And
15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I got this one.
That's your recent one.
Yeah.
I love that one.
It's an ode to my inner child.
Mm.
So...
Did you read a lot as a child?
I still read, yeah.
Is it?
It's my fantasy addict.
Okay.
Big time.
And what type of stuff do you read?
For most of my life, I've read autobiographies.
Okay.
Autobiographies, and then when I first came into recovery, a lot of like self-help stuff, a lot of 12-step literature.
Cool.
At the moment, I picked up a book called The Malazan Books of the Fallen, which is like the Malazan Books of the Fallen, right?
Okay.
So it's this amazing 10-book series that it's like a punk version of fantasy. It's really dark and edgy, and
oh my God.
I'm on book 7 after like 2 years.
Okay.
Because I really needed a break from like all the self-help recovery stuff. You know, I do enough of it, so I needed like a gentle escape.
There's a time for recovery reading, and that's in the morning.
Yeah.
But when I read to relax, I read to relax.
Cool. What do you read?
I read bullshit.
Is it?
I read absolute bullshit. Don't give me intellectual stuff. I mean, my husband said to me at some stage, one of the best books ever is you must read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Okay.
Oh my God. So I picked it up and I started reading it, and I thought, this is crap.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. But I pushed through, and the more I read, the more I thought, I suppose it will make sense. Have you ever read it?
No.
But it's very philosophical, and I didn't understand the kind of base philosophical principle, but I thought that it will get clearer. But it didn't, because all that happened is he added another level on top of that base. So the further I went to the book, the less I understood.
Okay, wow.
Until after a month or so long, 3/4 in the book, I thought, fuck this shit, you know. And I'm obsessive compulsive. I don't not finish stuff. But that's one of the very few books in my life that I put down. And
really,
no, it was not relaxing. It made me feel bad about me because I couldn't understand what was going on. I felt stupid and I felt incompetent.
Sure.
So no, I also love autobiographies.
Yeah.
Also sports people, but generally liking Dame Judi Dench and stuff like that, athletes and anything.
Yeah, musicians. I'm a big fan of musician biographies as well.
I've read PJ Powers.
Oh, cool.
What's it called? Here I Am.
Okay, cool.
Something like that, yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I read, and I love fantasy. I love fantasy. At the moment, I'm reading the Chronicles of Narnia for my inner child.
Yeah, you told me,
every night before I go to bed. And we are so loving it.
That's amazing.
Every night a chapter, and I feel so close to him. So you grew up in Johannesburg?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in Joburg.
In the affluent northern suburbs.
Yeah, affluent. But just before I start there, I want to just say, before we get into that, but on the whole inner child thing, I've just started a course called The Artist's Way.
Oh my God, okay.
Have you heard about it?
Yes, so many people I know have done it and do it in conjunction with their recovery stuff.
Oh, really?
And they all say it is amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't feel grounded while they're not doing Artist Way.
Sure.
So like everything in life, they move into it and then they move out. And when they move out, they feel the difference.
Yes.
So when did you start with
I started yesterday, actually.
Oh, cool.
My friend bought me a book to honor our friendship.
Okay.
So it got delivered this week.
Oh,
and
you
then
wrote your 3 pages this morning.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yes. So
and then went in the meeting,
when you said you've done your 3 pages, I thought, that sounds Artist Way.
yeah. So I started that, and it's all about inner child work, and I believe I have a creative monster within me. But he's a gentle, kind, and it's a whole work around rediscovering that sort of stuff, which I've kind of, because I focus so intensively on recovery and just sometimes trying to get through life, I kind of neglect the creative child,
Because you are creative.
Yeah. I'd like to. Everyone tells me I am. I doubt myself all the time.
I don't think I even know what you do for a living, but I just assume that it must be in the creative field.
I work on TV shows. I'm an editor.
Okay.
I'm a video editor. Yeah.
And is that creative?
It has its moments.
Okay.
I think it depends on the content you're working on. But I've been working on a show, a magazine show. It's been going forever.
Okay.
I'm not going to mention the name, but I've been working on that, and that's pretty
monotonous.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So I'm trying to tap into other creative ways. My background is a writer.
Okay.
So I used to write and direct promos for Supersport.
Oh, whoa.
So I worked at a production company for about 6 years.
Okay.
Doing creative work. Like on my business card, it said I was a creative. So I was a writer, director, producer. Yeah, but I lost that job.
Oh, hence the love for sport. Or
I've always I have a deep love of sport.
Okay.
But I mean, I can take you through my journey if you want.
Please,
So
please. That's what we're here for.
Cool, man. So basically, I was born in Mowbray in Cape Town. My dad is an alcoholic.
Oh.
My mom codependent. My dad was also a sex addict. So he slept around a lot when he was with my mom.
Okay.
He was having an affair when I was born. He gave my mom a disease. So she had 9 miscarriages before I was born. God. So I was the first baby to survive.
Okay.
So I think from that, my mom and I had a very extremely close bond,
Okay.
And it was a bit unhealthy. I think it was a certain level of emotional incest that happened in that relationship.
Enmeshment.
I was responsible for her well-being for a very long time. Yeah, so born in Cape Town, moved up to Joburg when I was 4 or 5, and I was always a very sensitive, very quiet, introverted, shy child. I'm Pisces, so...
When's your birthday?
16th of March.
Oh, nice.
I know. So growing up I was always very insecure. My dad was a very hands-on father though, when he was around. But I was exposed to hectic things. And we found him high on cocaine, passed out. He basically OD'd in his office the one night.
Okay.
If I stare out the window, I tend to do that a lot while I talk. So just excuse that.
It's difficult not to stare at the window from where we sit.
That's beautiful.
I've got the beautiful view.
You do.
I'm doing the most fabulous podcast recently. I sat in a lounge the other 3 weeks ago. We just had this beautiful look out on Lion's Head, and the paragliders were just kind of swirling around.
Amazing.
It's so awesome. And Jimmy's sitting looking out on. What is this?
I don't know. It's Lakeside.
Lakeside something.
It's I don't even know what it's called. The Flay.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the name is. And just over there is Marina de Gama. And
it's a beautiful view.
Yeah, it's lekker.
Lee, you used the word dad was? As he passed?
No, so basically what happened was that my folks got divorced when I was 9.
Okay.
Which just shattered my world. I blamed myself and... so I saw my dad for a couple of years after that, but we were very, very poor. My mom, myself, and my brother, we were homeless for a while, and then my mom was working for a company, and the company had like a caretaker's apartment in an office block that we could rent.
Okay.
So we lived in there for about 3 years.
Wow.
But it was weird because my dad was my hero growing up. As soon as they got divorced, like I never heard from him. I mean, I'd see him every second weekend, but he was living in like 5-bedroom houses, you know, with his cocaine addicted girlfriend, and like, but he never once contributed school fees, never helped us with anything. So that was really confusing. At the time, I thought it was just normal. Like I just thought this is what happens in relationships when people got divorced. And so I never really thought about it much. It's only through the work that I've done in the recent years that I think it was quite dysfunctional.
Yeah.
So we were very poor, and then I saw my dad for maybe like 2 years after the divorce, 3 years maybe, and then he just disappeared for like 12 years. Never
So from about when you entered adolescence until, oh my word.
Yeah,
okay.
So when I was about 24, one of my friend's dads passed away, and I thought, fuck, you know, I want to go and see my dad. So I tracked him down through Facebook, and he was living in Durban, and I connected with cousins that I also hadn't seen in like 12 years or something, and I figured that he was celebrating his 50th birthday. So I got in my car and I drove down to Durban, like on a weekend, and I rocked up at his 50th birthday and surprised him.
Oh my God.
After like not seeing him for like 12 years. It was fucking hectic.
So how surprised was he?
He was surprised. Like he didn't really recognize me. And then like he was very sheepish and shy, and I'll never like remember the shock in his like bright blue eyes, you know. We sipped on a couple of beers, and yeah, I think since then we've kind of re-established a relationship, but it's just very, you know, over WhatsApp, send each other funny pictures and talk about sports. It's very surface. You know, I did a step 9 amends to him, you know, for projection and owning my stuff.
Okay.
Which is difficult because a lot of the time I felt like, you know, what do I owe him? And, you know, that sort
That's
of stuff.
the first thought that went through my mind.
You know what I mean?
Why?
Like if I had to tell my mom and stepdad that, they'll be like, what the fuck, you know? So, I mean, I did a step 9 with my dad, and he's always maintained the fact that he wants to talk to me about what happened and why he did what he did, and but he never will. Okay. You know, and I understand and respect that. I don't think he has the capacity to do that. Maybe he carries too much shame. Maybe he doesn't care. You know, so that's his stuff. Yeah. You know? So we've got a relationship now, but it's very, very surface-based. Okay. Yeah. And he still lives in Durban. He's very sick. He's still in active alcoholism. So. Mm-hmm.
So you in Johannesburg with mom and brother? Brother younger than you, obviously.
Yeah, he's 30. He now lives in New Zealand.
Okay.
Then my mom met a much younger guy, like 10 years younger, and very emotionally unavailable. Mm. So I grew up with this person in my house where I tread on eggshells, I couldn't talk to him about anything. It was fucking horrible. But he was very young, and he took on these 2 kids. I mean, he was 20 years old when he met my mom. My mom was 31.
Yeah.
So my mom was a single mom with 2 kids. Had to work 3 jobs just so we could eat. And my mom was obsessed with gym. So I'll never forget, like, we were living in this apartment in the middle of Sandton, right? So there's all this money around us, but we couldn't fucking get 2 cents together to pay for electricity.
Yeah. Know? Freaky.
Fucking weird, eh? So, my mom still managed to put us through school, you know. We could never afford aftercare, so we used to like play soccer after school, and like sports was my life. Okay. Sports was a big escape for me. That was my first means of escaping. And fantasy and reading. Yeah. You know.
Exactly the same.
Sure.
Exactly
powerful, eh? Yeah, so I played a lot of sports, a lot of cricket, a lot of soccer, a lot of sprinting in primary school. Went to a government co-ed school, very Model C sort of vibe. But we could never afford aftercare, so we used to hang out at school like until 6, 7 when my mom would fetch us. She'd drop us at home, and then she'd go and be a waitress at Spur. Like, it was hectic. Amazing woman. Fuck it. And then she'd wake up at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning to like make sandwiches for like a kiosk she'd run in the morning, and then she'd go like a day job.
Oh my word.
Crazy.
And when did she gym?
Oh, so the gym thing. So she gymmed in a gym like down the road from us, down the road from where we went to school. Went to school in Bryanston. Yeah, it was very stressful because my mom was obsessed with gym and exercise. So every morning we'd wake up in a state of stress because we were going to make my mom late for gym.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'd get to gym at like 6:30 in the morning. School would start at 8, so we had fuck all to do for an hour every morning, you know. So my mom would just exercise. You know, and I think that was her sort of way of channeling what she was going through.
Yeah.
She never turned to drugs, never turned to alcohol. I think exercise and food was her thing, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that was my early teen years, and then I went to high school. I was very awkward around kids, but so I used sports to kind of feel accepted socially, you know.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. And then what was weird is because I'm a sex addict as well, the first high I ever got was the first time I masturbated.
Okay.
I'm very open and honest about my stuff.
That's cool.
Cool. So that was the first high I ever had, but that was when I was in standard 5.
Okay.
What happened in standard 4, my best friend, before I'd even thought about or even engaged in sexual conduct, my best friend spread rumors about me in the school that I was a compulsive masturbator.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I remember walking up to these 2 girls in the playground the one day, and they ran away from me. And I was like, hey, why are they running away?
Yeah.
No, this has been said. So no one wanted to be friends with me. And it wasn't true, you know, but it's weird because it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Where I did become like a compulsive masturbator. You know, the greatest self-soother there is known to man, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that happened. I lost all my friends. I remember crying in the car on the way to school one day. Mom, and this was added to like my already low self-esteem.
Yeah.
The rejection and abandonment from my dad and all of this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother had learning disability, so he went to Delta Park. Yeah, it was crazy times actually.
Difficult.
Yeah, it was difficult. Yeah. Yeah, then I went to high school. It was a fresh start. Discovered I had a talent for rugby. Rugby became my life.
Cool.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
What position?
I started out as 8th man, and then I moved into fullback when I was 16.
Okay.
But yeah, high school was cool. I was still extremely socially awkward. But again, I just carried on using sports to escape. And then I picked up alcohol for the first time.
Okay.
And that's when my whole social existence changed.
Lee, and creativity in school, art and stuff like that?
Fuck all.
No art, no music,
Nothing.
no...
I've always been my dad was a musician. So I grew up with Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Pink Floyd. So music was always a big part of my life, you know. And then I got into like Nirvana and Metallica in primary school, and then actually got into
In primary school.
Yeah, I know. And then I got heavy into underground rap, underground hip hop. Yeah, and I still it's the biggest influence on my music collection today.
Really?
Yeah, jeez. But I like the darker, edgier indie stuff. I haven't listened to the radio in over 10 years.
Oh, good.
15 years. I don't do the radio stuff.
Okay.
I'm very fussy when it comes I'm a music snob. So like, yeah, I'm a music, film and series snob. But in terms of creativity, I think the first time I realized I was creative was the first time I went to treatment.
Okay.
But I'll get to that just now. So did high school, started drinking. I drank to feel accepted the first time. I smoked weed the first time to feel accepted with the first team rugby because I made first team rugby when I was in standard 8. So all the older guys were smoking weed. So like, fuck, I want to be part of the crew. And
so instead of being health freaks.
yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Yeah. It's government school. It wasn't like private boy, fucking, you know.
No bursaries to lose.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. High school was cool. I mean, I was very popular. I was very popular with the girls, but I could never approach girls.
Just mostly because of the rugby. That
also
gave you that type of status.
Yeah, and also I always was quite a maverick. I always was quite a rebel. I used to do things my way. And I used to be like really good looking, like a long time ago. So I'm saying that with humility, but yeah, so you know, I did like a lot of modeling and like that sort of shit, and not a lot, a fair amount. You know, so like girls always. I mean, I was at home in December now, and my sister found this box of love letters from my high school.
Oh, really?
I was going through all of these like crushes on me, and it was just fucking weird, like bringing back all of that stuff, you know. But at the same time, I found old home videos of myself that I'd never seen, of me when I was 16. I was watching recently now in December. We're in March, and I came across these old home videos of me when I was 16, and I just was a walking. I was just a manifestation of shame, guilt, awkwardness, insecurity.
Sounds dark.
No, it was, I almost like started crying, seeing myself in
Yeah.
this, as this human being,
Yeah.
It was shocking. And my ex-girlfriend was with me as well, and she saw it and she was like, what the fuck? Like,
wow.
you needed help
Yeah.
badly. So that was quite an eye-opener. So, yeah, that was me in high school. Very awkward, reliant on sports. Then I found marijuana. And as soon as I found marijuana, it wasn't a slow process for me.
At school still?
Yeah, when I was 17.
Okay.
As soon as I picked up my first joint, I think I played another couple of games of rugby, but I quit everything else. Quit cricket, quit sprinting. My whole life changed the first time I picked up drugs.
I'm in love, I'm in love.
Yeah.
I'm in love.
It just consumed me. And Freddie, you know
Wait.
what? The thing is, like, I didn't enjoy getting high. I didn't enjoy getting drunk. But it just felt better than me being me.
Yeah.
And that's what changed me. I had my first girlfriend when I was 16. We lost our virginity together. And that was like a deep, it was the most authentic love I think I've ever experienced. But it might have just been young love.
Yeah.
First time, I have a very warped perception of what real love is. Because I thought I was in love before, but I realized that it's been codependency.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of work to do with that. So anyways, from high school, I mean, I had my prefectship taken away for drinking at camp on school grounds. Like, I just turned into, I was just this soft little gentle kid, and then I just turned into this very aggressive, angry person, and I left school. I just didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. I went and worked in a call center. So I saved up for 6 months and bought myself my first car, which was quite cool. But straight after high school, I went into rehab.
Okay.
My friends approached my mom and they were like, Lee needs help. He's addicted to marijuana and alcohol. And I started an outpatient program. And I went to a place called Sharp in Joburg.
Okay.
Was there for about 2 weeks. Then I got kicked out for drinking.
Oh, no.
That was the first time I was introduced to the steps and, sponsors.
So you're now 18, 19 years old?
18, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you go willingly? Did you accept that you've got the problem, you need help?
Initially, no, but then I bought into it.
Okay.
I was like, okay, fuck it. So I started as an outpatient and then I went inpatient.
Okay.
And at the time it was a secondary treatment facility, so I didn't do primary. I went
Okay.
straight into secondary. But I went for alcohol and marijuana, but I always had this fantasy around cocaine. And that became my drug of choice.
Is it?
When
Okay.
I was 20. So probably about a year after I left treatment, I carried on using weed and alcohol.
Okay.
But I never looked at like compulsive masturbation and porn stuff. Porn became another massive thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know.
Yeah, so
Identify.
because it's like, and throughout my 20s as well, it was so much easier for me to face possible rejection or abandonment with another human being. It was so much easier for me to sit in isolation with a machine,
Absolutely.
where I could control my fantasies and,
No judgment.
no judgment, no vulnerability, no intimacy, fuck
No.
that. So that was also part of my addiction for many years. I was lonely and high throughout my 20s. I went, then after, I went and studied at Wits for a year, TV production, and I thought, fuck this. I went overseas and I chefed for 2 years. That's when cocaine became a big part of my life. Came back, got into the TV industry again, got hired as like a junior director for a big company, not a big company, but a very prominent company. Did really well, bought a house with the help of my mom. She's got all her investments tied in there and life savings and stuff. So
mom, sorry to interrupt
no,
you,
no.
Mom kind of got things together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she started making a bit of money, like, I think when I was about 16, 17.
So when you went off the rails, mom kind of came onto it.
Yeah. My stepdad became a qualified chartered accountant. My brother finished high school. So things are looking better,
Okay.
A lot better. But that's when I started, like you said. And then the next 10 years of my life, it was just a fuck up.
Yeah. Quickly, let's just pause there. any form of spirituality, religion, whatever, at that stage of your life?
You know what? So, like, I've always been very anti-religion. I grew up in a very non-religious household and a very open-minded, and whatever you want to pursue, you can pursue and it'll be supported. So I'm very, very blessed for. My mom's very liberal. You know, we've got a non-judgment sort of way in our house.
Okay.
Oh, when I was 15, they gave birth to my younger sister.
Okay.
So she's one of the highlights of my life.
Cool. How did you relate to religious studies at school, though?
I didn't. I switched off.
Okay.
So we used to...
just a 30-minute blah, blah, blah. You kind of sat and fantasized about life in general.
Exactly. It was like, oh, cool. What the fuck? Bible studies or some shit. I don't know. So I've always had issues with it.
Okay.
One of my best friends growing up's mom was extremely religious, and I thought it was the funniest thing. Fuck. But, I mean, I never really had any specific reason for my resentment. You know, I never had a bad experience at church. I mean, I went to church a few times with this friend of mine. Okay. I've always had this core belief in me that there's a greater force at work.
Okay.
And that's my higher power today, the great creator. That's kind of how I see it. And it's the creation that resides in everything from your eyes to a leaf outside to a car tire. You know, everything everything's been created through this force.
Okay.
You know, and that's the power greater than me that I realized in step 2. But it wasn't a realization. It was just kind of, I knew this the whole time.
Yeah.
I'd been on spiritual workshops to try and get clean. I'd been on meditation retreats to try and get clean. So I've done a lot of work around this sort of stuff before I came into recovery throughout my 20s.
Cool.
Yeah, then for my 20s, I got in toxic relationships, codependent. I was very abusive to women. I broke my girlfriend's nose once. I threw a brick through a window. I threw my mom around. I stole. I lost my job. I lost all my friends. I cashed out my whole life savings, used it in 2 months on drugs. There's a lot of
unmanageable.
Yeah, no. That was the next 10 years of my life.
Okay.
Porn, masturbation, drugs, alcohol.
I always find it fascinating to hear. It sounds so chaotic, and then and that lasted for 10 years. Such chaos lasted for 10 years. But we somehow survived.
Amazing, man.
We are so bloody resilient. It's shocking.
Yeah. No, amazing. So, I mean, that's in a nutshell, yeah, you know.
And then what made you come into recovery?
So I was 29 and I was in a very fucked up relationship for 2 years. My family hated this woman. She was an addict, sex addict, you know. The sexual things we did were very dark, and, you know, it opened up a whole new world for me. Yeah, so anyways, I was with this woman, I'd lost my job, and then she kept on breaking up with me. And because I've always been attracted to women who need rescuing and the broken bird, and that's my type, you know. So then she broke up with me and I fucked out, and then I wanted to go into rehab. I went to Heart and House, and like the night before I was going to check in, I decided to go visit my brother in New Zealand to try and get clean for 2 months. I went there, still drank and smoked marijuana, and acted out hardcore with porn.
But you stopped the coke.
I stopped.
So you thought coke was the problem?
Yeah, I did coke for 5 years, and then my drug of choice became cat.
Okay.
And then the cat that I was using was a mixture of heroin and meth. So I went to New Zealand to try and get clean off that, and I did, but I just still drank and used and compulsively masturbated for 4 hours a day.
Okay.
In such a beautiful country, I never explored it or anything. I was still in the grips of addiction. Then I came back, and as soon as I got back off the plane, I phoned my dealer.
Okay.
And then the next 3 months were hardcore. I moved back in with my folks. I rented out my flat to a tenant who put like 6 months worth of rent in my account. And
a big mistake.
You know what I mean? I still had some of my life savings. So I had like a $2,000 a day habit, and with no income, it just, yeah. And then my mom tricked me into a drug test at Crescent Clinic in Joburg. I fucking lost it with her. I was like, oh, this is so deceitful. And
how the hell did you do that?
Well, she's like, I want to take you to a doctor or something. I was like, okay, cool. You know, because I wasn't well. I weighed 67 kgs.
Oh my God.
You know, I'm like 6'2", so you can imagine.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I just went there. She tricked me into this drug test at the clinic. because the nurse took me to the bathroom. I don't know what was happening. She goes, okay, you need to piss in this cup. And I was like, fuck this. I stormed out. I was causing a scene in the clinic. Eventually, the lady who runs the clinic came and sat me down and spoke to me for about an hour, begging me to come in. And eventually, I had this, I call it my great exhale. And it was at that moment when it was that complete moment of surrender where I just knew that I was done.
Okay.
I'd lost. I'd been fighting for many, many years.
White flag raised.
Massively.
As our green book says.
Yes.
Step 1.
Yeah.
So that white flag was raised.
Yeah. And I'll never forget that moment. From that breath, my whole life changed.
Oh, wow.
And I walked outside to my mom and I said, Mom, I'm coming in. Because she was waiting outside.
God, she must have, talk about breath, she must have sighed a breath already.
It was, yeah, shame. So we then left, and then there was complications with medical aid, so I could only go in a week later.
That's the worst always, once the addict decides I need help.
You know?
Then that red tape bullshit happens. Oh my God.
Fuck.
So you were okay still a week later to go in?
Yeah, I drank and used sleeping pills.
Okay.
Still using sleeping pills for my family because I didn't have money for drugs, and masturbated myself to sleep every night. You know. Yeah. Then it was a week later, and then I knew I got a phone call and said you can come in tomorrow.
Ah.
And I'll never forget running up to my sister and my mom, just with the greatest joy in my heart, saying I'm going to fucking rehab tomorrow. I was running around the house screaming.
Freaky.
Yeah. And then that last night I went out and had a bender with 2 friends.
Oh, yeah.
And then I walked into treatment the next day high. And
eyes like saucers.
Yeah, I went straight, I had to put my bags down at reception and then went straight to the psychiatrist.
Okay.
And and then I just detoxed for that day. And then my life began. My new life. And
the spirituality concept, the God of understanding, was there for you. You knew what it was?
I just
or did
knew.
Step 1 freak you out? Like it didn't.
Not at all. It's, for me, that exhale that I talk about,
Yeah.
my great exhale, that was my higher power's love for me.
Okay.
That was the candle that burnt within me. That was kind of the candle was always burning.
Yeah.
Very dimly though, and it just sparked into a ferocious flame.
Oh, wow.
So, and I believe that my higher power speaks to me through other people. That's for me the most tangible concept for me. So whatever someone did or suggested for me in Crescent, I fucking did.
Okay.
I started journaling every night. Something I still do 4.5 years later, and I write gratitude lists every night, and I write affirmation lists.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big part of my journey, and a lot of the time it's directed to my higher power. Step 1, I mean, all the steps have been, uncomfortable to write.
Yeah.
But I believe that everything we know, we already know. It's like what exists within us, but it's just about tapping into it, So I knew I had a God of my understanding, I knew there was a power greater than myself. I knew that I wouldn't be alive today if there was a greater force at work.
Yeah.
And for me, what's so important about gratitude, because I run my whole recovery on gratitude, is it's easy to be grateful for, the roof over my head or my TV or fucking my job. But for me, the power of gratitude comes in when I'm grateful for the negative experiences. So I'm grateful for fear because it allows me to be courageous. I'm grateful for, maybe a toxic relationship that I was in because it's part of my journey and I've grown through that, and that's made me part of who I am today. I actually meant to say that I struggle with the word spiritual and spirituality.
Is it?
I just think it's like, it's just like a very sort of fucking in word at the moment.
So you found it loaded?
I don't feel it's loaded. I just feel it's overused and watered down.
Okay.
Especially in the mainstream sort of, especially with social media and especially in the media, it's like people try to sell you Zen in a bottle, and it's like, and it's like, I find my spirituality through, okay, yes, I meditate every day.
Okay.
I pray to my higher power every morning. I get to work and I have a whole ritual. I light a candle in my office. I read my just for today. I hand my power over.
Awesome. Do you think you're weird at work?
I have my own edit suite.
Okay.
So it's very like, I've got my little Buddhas in there, I've got my trees, like my healing crystals. It's very neat and organized. I've got my readings. When you walk into my colleagues' edit suites, it's just fucking cables and coffee mugs and
it's chaos.
You know what I mean? So I've
Yeah.
lived enough chaos. I just want
Yeah.
serenity and openness and light. So I have a very strict routine that I have every morning. And that's how I connect to my higher power every day.
Awesome,
I have
yeah.
my will over it every day. Yeah.
I've got a very strict morning routine.
Yeah.
I believe that is what's it, paramount to my life.
Fuck. That's the most beautiful thing about meditation, is that you get into your body and the body never lies.
Yeah.
I did Zen meditation for quite a while, which
Okay.
is pretty staunch, hardcore, sitting in silence with specific rituals and stuff. But I've kind of broken away from that because I believe meditation is, the definition of meditation is just being in the moment.
Yeah.
Also because my mind is so cooked, it just doesn't stop fucking working. So to quieten it's very...
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of practice
Yeah.
and a lot of dedication to do Zen. I've kind of branched away from it, so I've started listening to more gentle, guided meditations.
Okay.
And there was one that I did the other day, and it reminds me of the time thing. And the woman that who did the meditation said, when you sit down now for half an hour, whatever, see it as a gift. See that you don't have to fucking worry about anything
Yeah.
else. You know, and then always at the end of the meditation, congratulate yourself for dedicating that time. You know, because the time, I'm obsessed with time. Okay, so it's like the time thing, you know, it feels like a chore. Oh my God, you know, I shouldn't be spending 15 minutes doing my morning check-in with my higher power because I need to get ahead with work. But you know, sometimes it's not even about what we do with that time. It's just about dedicating the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, like, if I want to connect with myself, I have a few different ways of doing it. I can go for a walk, I can write. You know, it doesn't matter what I do in that 15 minutes, but the fact that I'm dedicating 15 minutes of the day to myself,
Yeah.
that's the fucking power
Absolutely.
of it. You know?
That you are worth that 15 minutes. Yeah.
Like in one time.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. You know, so just going back to this whole, like, the word, and I still struggle with the word God as well.
Okay.
So when I do the Serenity Prayer, I usually use the word Creator or Higher Power.
Okay. Or just skip the first word.
Yeah, you know, it's completely self-will, but fucking, you know.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah,
So,
you know.
if you could choose a different word for spirituality, what would it be?
Fuck,
It's going to be interesting. Let's get that mind going.
Yeah, it's because it's such a loose word. I mean, what do you connect spirituality with? You know,
Yeah.
it's you know, is spirituality considered a religion thing? Is it considered connecting with yourself? Is it writing? Is it reading? It's all of it. It's so fucking diverse. For me, if I had to replace the word spirituality, first word that comes, and I've never been asked this question, the first word that comes to mind is connection.
That is exactly what I thought you were going to say.
Really?
Yeah. That is so weird. Purely because so many people that I speak to on this podcast,
Yeah.
without a sense of God, of religion,
Yeah.
brings connectivity into it.
Mm.
And I agree. It's a sense that we develop to be connected with so many aspects of our lives. It's not just with us, but
Exactly.
with nature, with
Yes,
other
yes,
people,
yes.
with stuff.
Yeah.
It's just connection.
Yeah.
So I'm
Absolutely.
so with you on that one.
That's amazing.
That was really cool. You said, okay, God.
That's so cool. Because I was staring out the window and I was thinking of all the kind of things that are considered spiritual. And I thought of nature and I thought of writing and reading and other people. For me, I want to mention something about that now, but all of that stuff entails connection, you know, whether it's writing, it's connecting to your thoughts and your heart in the page, whether it's nature, you're connecting to rain, to leaves, whether it's other people, you going on a date, or you helping a friend move house, religion, it's connecting to a God, connecting to fellowship, 12 steps, it's connecting to fellowship. You know, so it's all about connection, man.
Away from that isolation that you said as well.
Yes.
But for me, the isolation thing was, I grew up in a big family.
Yeah.
So I was never alone.
Yeah.
But I was isolating in my own world. And I find that still very difficult in recovery, is to not disappear.
Sure.
In sociology, they have the term, they call it social away. So you're in a social environment, but you just kind of... My husband can talk to me for long, and I can say, look at him and think, I've got no idea what he just said.
Freddie, man.
I just disappeared.
That's me to a T.
And it doesn't have to be a negative disappearance into, previously it was possibly into sexual fantasy. But now it's just kind of, my mind just goes. And I'm not present. I'm currently busy with a physical exercise of when my husband walks into the room or whatever, and I'm busy on my phone or the iPad, I put it down. I don't keep it in my hand anymore because the natural thing is, he's talking, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
So the new exercise is flip it over and listen.
Fantastic.
Connection, that's what it is.
Yeah. And I'm trying to do a similar thing. So if I'm with someone, I turn my phone off.
Cool.
No, unless I'm expecting a very important phone call. But if I go to breakfast with my sister tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
The phone will be off.
Okay. Is she in Cape Town now?
She's just moved on from Joburg to UCT.
Oh, wow.
And she's going to study drama, and it's fine. It's so nice to have a blood family finally in Cape Town. Because basically, when I left Crescent, spoke to my counsellor, I was like, I want to continue with secondary, because 21 days is not going to be enough to fucking... But I want to do it, I want to get out of Joburg, I want to go to Cape Town. So I phoned a whole bunch of places, found an institution I wanted to go to, and then borrowed 30,000 Rand from my stepdad, which allowed me a month of treatment in Cape Town and a plane ticket. So I packed the only bag of clothes I had and flew down to Cape Town, went to treatment for a month, and that's how I restarted my life. Yeah.
I sometimes wish we could record the sound of a smile.
I know.
Because both of us are sitting here with a smile on our face. It's so lovely. It's so good to make that healthy decision for yourself.
It's the greatest decision.
That's excellent. So that's how you ended up in Cape Town, back home.
Yeah, so I moved down in 2013. I got clean. And it was weird. I remember I got to secondary. They fetched me from the airport and I had a fucking handful of clothes. And that's it. And fuck all else, all I had carried with me was guilt and shame, I remember lying on the couch on the first day. It was a Saturday, no one was there, and I just thought, what the fuck am I doing? I'm in the city, I have no idea, I don't know anything about it, don't know anyone. But then I did 2 90 and 90s in a row.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow.
Yeah, without a car.
With addictive abundance.
You know what I mean? I hadn't worked for 2 years. I got a job. I managed to get into a sober house.
Oh, wow.
I couch surfed for a while before I got into... I had a sponsor. How's this? So now this for me is fucking spiritual. So for me, spiritual isn't fucking going to meditate for 6 hours.
Yeah.
For me, spirituality is connecting to other people. How can I be of service to another human being? That for me is the most... is for me the fucking most... the densest, most intense way of spirituality. I
wish I had a video camera to record your body language while you were doing that. That is awesome, yeah.
But you know what I mean? For me, that for me is the truest sense of spirituality.
So you were going to connect your sponsor with spirituality?
So basically, I'd known the sponsor for fucking 2 weeks.
Okay.
And he just let me come and sleep on his couch for 2 weeks. And I'll never forget that. I was 30 days clean.
Yeah.
Or 60 days clean. And it was through that compassion and kindness that, I try to carry forward, So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, then I got into a sober house and then I fucking restarted my life. I had to catch taxis and trains to work every day, then to meetings. It was such an exciting time. Then time passed, 6 months, and I got involved in a relationship, which turned out to be toxic. We got married, then I got divorced last year. So I've been through a lot in recovery.
Yeah.
This whole discovering that I'm a sex addict. I've got massive intimacy issues.
Was that first realization of sex addiction in Cape Town?
In secondary, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I went to my first SAA meeting on a Wednesday night.
Oh, okay.
It was fucking uncomfortable. And everyone in the
my first one was a Wednesday night.
Was it? Yes. I was very uncomfortable and very vulnerable. But for me, that's growth.
Yeah. When you talk about the divorce, the word that pops into my head is shame. Is that correct?
Is an amount of shame.
Because you failed, or failed at something that you wanted.
There's a failure. My ex-wife was an amazing human being, and I miss her every day.
Okay.
She was an addict in recovery, and I started acting out with another woman at work, just emotionally. It wasn't physically, because I was unhappy in my marriage, and I knew that I couldn't turn back to drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
But it's a long and involved, deep story. Yeah. But I became obsessed with this woman outside of my relationship, and I actually checked myself back into treatment in 2015.
Okay.
Was it 2015?
We met just after that.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yes, at the retreat.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went back into treatment. My ex-wife relapsed after 6 years.
Oh, no.
And she stopped working the program. Yeah, and so there's a lot of guilt and shame, and she moved back to the UK. She served me the divorce papers. I had to pay her a lot of money. I had to go to court. But what's incredible is that my sponsor is like an angel for me. Without putting him on a pedestal, I know he's a human being. But he's been it's just a different sponsor. I've had my sponsor Chris for about 3 years, 3.5 years, maybe even close to 4. And he's like my best friend, like he's my brother. Like I said to you, I'm the best man at his wedding in April, and like we're very, very close. And throughout my whole divorce process, he was there with me. Okay. He was the only person that brought me stuff when I was in treatment again for my obsession and sex addiction and love addiction and stuff in 2015. You know, he was there with me through every lawyer's appointment I had. He came with me.
Oh, shame.
It's fucking amazing. Yeah.
But our sponsors are such amazing connections, spirituality.
Yeah.
Again. So, how do you feel today about life in general?
I'm having a bit of a rocky morning, so I'm a bit despondent, but I know that everything passes. So I'm really, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude. I'm just very, very serene, you know.
That's fantastic.
I'm actually just started step 1 again. I'm doing the 12 steps on my childhood and the relationship with my parents.
Have you thought about, oh God, the listeners are so sick and tired of me with this, but adult children?
Yeah, I've thought about it, yeah.
Okay. Because I hear such good things about it.
Yeah, I've heard amazing.
That might be
I know it's an option.
Next level of the onion.
Yeah. Recently, I was in a relationship for about 10 months, an amazing relationship. Loved the girl a lot, but it just didn't work, fortunately. You know, during this time as well, I was looking, I'm always open to other things, you know. I've been doing 12 steps religiously for a very long time.
Yeah, well.
You know, and I got to a point where I'm like, fuck, you know, I'm bored. There must be other stuff out there. I don't want to sit in another fucking meeting hearing 50 people say I'm an addict. It's like these things that like really get to me sometimes, you know, and it's just, I'm an addict, but I'm also an amazing brother. You know, I'm a son, I'm a creative, you know, I'm all these various things, and I don't want to just carry on identifying myself as an addict, you know.
You're finding the balance.
Yeah, it's taken 4 years.
Yeah, but it takes as long as it takes.
Fuck, yeah, man. But like, I think in the last, say, since my divorce, my whole life has changed a lot. I've become very independent. I went on this 9-month celibacy stint, so I didn't have an orgasm for 9 months.
9 months.
No masturbation, no porn, no dates, no physical intimacy, no intimacy. I did that properly. I did Face in the Shadows by Dr. Patrick Kahn.
Did you become emotional in those 9 months?
There were times of, the biggest emotion I think was loneliness.
For me, during my first period of abstinence on day 8, day 9, I woke up with having had a weird dream, and I went to the bathroom to clean up, and the damn wall broke, and I cried for 9 months.
Really?
9 months of mourning, of serious. If I didn't cry for 3 days, it was a lot. But I had to. It had to come out. What I've been bottling up for all these years had to come out, and it did. It was an amazing journey. So when it comes to abstinence, I am very, very pro-abstinence. I had full-blown panic attacks from emotions that didn't know where to go. That was flipping amazing.
I've gone through heavy withdrawal from relationships.
Okay.
But just going back to to my journey in the last sort of 18 months, or to coming, 18 months, it's 9 months abstinence. I checked myself into a sober house.
All to keep yourself safe. So healthy decisions.
Yeah. And I actually became an RA at that sober house, and then I actually was given the opportunity to run groups, and with an amazing woman who's one of my role models in Cape Town addictions field. So she took me under her wing. I started running relapse prevention groups with her, and I'd run community sessions at the treatment center. So I got into this whole world of my purpose. I know what I'm here to do, and I discovered that through a spiritual workshop that I did when I was about 25.
Awesome.
I was about a contract with the universe. And,
cool.
Yeah. That was an amazing experience.
That's excellent.
I went there to try to get clean, and I found out a whole other side to me.
Yeah,
so I've started, got into this world of counseling. So I started seeing clients one-on-one. Done a lot of work with Dr. Patrick Kahn, Facing the Shadows. So yeah, that changed my fucking life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I operate from that space when I'm working with clients. Yeah, I've just got a new gig at another outpatient program where I work as a counselor every Monday and Wednesday nights, which is a new blessing. I've been on this fucking amazing 18 months since my divorce, and it's been so painful. There were a lot of damages caused by my ex-wife. I'm not going to take her inventory, but she read a lot of my Facing the Shadows work behind my back.
Okay.
Which had some really hectic stuff. Yeah. When I went into treatment during this divorce, my wife read all of my stuff. She told my mom that.
Oh my God.
So my family wanted nothing to do with me.
Oh no.
Fucking hectic. So they eventually flew down, and we had a conjoint with my sexual addictions therapist.
Okay.
And I had to sit there and explain to them my sex addiction, which was fucking heck to my mom and my stepdad.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that happened. And it's been a very difficult time since my divorce, but
sounds very healing though.
It's been such a healing period. I've done radio interviews, I've done TV interviews on sex addiction. I do massive service in SLA. I've just started a new SAA meeting. That's spirituality for me. That's carrying the message. It's all about being there for your fellow human being, man. Yeah. That's spirituality for me.
I hear you.
Genuinely at the core, I just want to spread the message of, love and compassion and support. And I think that's what we're here to do, And I believe that the whole world is one organism, I believe that the whole universe is all interconnected, and, I'm just a manifestation of that. I don't like getting into philosophy and stuff, but that's my true belief, everything is connected. And what is amazing is that I look out the window and I see that beauty, and I'm connected to that. I'm part of that. I'm part of that beauty, And so are you.
Absolutely.
And so is whoever's listening to this,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think on that note, let's end it.
Cool.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man.
You must have a most bloody awesome day.
I'm going to.
Fabulous.
Awesome, Chief.
It is at times like this that I really like myself. Yep, I'm making this podcast all about me. Lee is one of those situations where I meet someone and have an immediate connection with them. But due to life being life, one hardly gets the time to sit down and really have a deep one-on-one. Then one day, Meet Me in the Field happens, and I realize that my initial instinct was not wrong. That there is a reason why I immediately felt a connection with him. Listening to his past today makes me feel so much closer to Lee. I sometimes think that I might just have some form of paternal instinct after all. Lee is young enough to be my son, and I feel as if I want to wrap him in cotton wool and keep him safe from any further pain. It is not within my power to do that though, but Lee does not need that. He has learned amazing skills in recovery, and he seems to really know how to use them. I wish him all of the best the universe can give him. He surely deserves that. If you have any feedback or remarks, please feel free to pop me an email or connect with me on social media. It will be great to hear from you. If you want to know more about what I do, please feel free to connect with me on my website, which is www.freddy.org.za, or find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/freddy.org.za/, or on Twitter at @RensburgFreddy. Remember that Freddy is always spelled with an IE at the end. Be safe. Bye.